This is Signal Hounds talking RF, and today we're talking EMC compliance standards and who needs to adhere to them. Government organizations have developed electromagnetic compatibility standards to limit disruptive electromagnetic interference from preventing operations of electronic devices for consumer, commercial, public safety, and military applications. These standards dictate the emissions and susceptibility requirements for different classes of electronics, with special provisions for RF, military, commercial, emergency responders, and medical applications. Hello and welcome to Talking RF. Sean here with Justin Crooks, Senior Engineer and Hardware Designer for all Signal Hounds products. Justin, let's talk about EMC pre-compliance. Who regulates EMC compliant devices?
It's mostly the FCC in the US. Overseas, the CE has a lot of regulations. Every country kind of has their own body that ensures that the devices that are in use are compliant.
But can you talk about some of our products and how they benefit EMC pre-compliance testing?
Sure. Yeah, the BB60D is great. It sweeps really fast. So if your device is generating periodic energy that you may not catch with just a normal swept spectrum analyzer, you need to be aware of those as quickly as possible. Even the intermittent signals can cause interference, and the EMC test labs are pretty good at finding those.
And why is that testing important?
The testing ensures that this new device being introduced to the market isn't going to cause interference. For example, there's a lot of wireless FM transmitters that you'll see people you go to the gym, you see 93.1 megahertz is this TV station or this TV channel. Those FM transmitters are one of the most notorious offenders because sure, they produce that 93 megahertz signal just fine, but they produce every single harmonic, even all the way through public safety frequencies. And that can cause real problems because if the first responders can't communicate together, that's bad for everybody. So EMC compliance ensures that that device gets tested to ensure that it will not cause harmful interference. And the pre-compliance is basically, am I going to pass this test? When I take a product into the EMC test lab, that's an expensive process. I think thousands and thousands of dollars per day of testing. So if you're not confident that it's going to pass, and you might need 3 or 4 stabs at it, that can get expensive really fast. Buying something like a BB60D and a good broadband antenna or a LISN device if you're looking at conducted emissions, all of those things are going to be much more affordable than a couple weeks of iterations at a test lab.
What is something that people might not understand about EMC pre-compliance testing using our devices?
Well, when you go to the actual EMC test lab, I would definitely figure out what types of setups are going to be used at the actual EMC lab, and you'll want to duplicate those as closely as possible because otherwise you're not going to get the same measurements. For radiated emissions, which is probably the most common one that people are concerned with, the most important thing is to have an antenna that's fairly well characterized. And when you set up your device, they'll typically have you stretch the cables across the front of the table, and so know what types of test setups are going to be used, and when you're doing EMC pre-compliance testing, duplicate those. The purpose of EMC pre-compliance is to get your device ready for the actual EMC test lab. That's still a critical step that you can't skip. But rather than having to make 5 trips to the EMC test lab, failing on the first 4, if you do thorough EMC pre-compliance testing, you can be pretty confident that you're going to pass the first time.
If you have any questions for Justin about EMC pre-compliance or EMC compliant testing, leave them in the comments section below. Like, follow, and subscribe for more Signal Hound and RF content.